Right, I am down to 47 kilometers in, I'm not entirely sure what percentage it is, but I'm at Tesco in Mallow, a 22 kilowatt point. Now I'm going to plug in and I'm going to do some shopping. The shopping here will probably take about 15 minutes. And I'm going to see how much I'm going to gain in that 15 minutes charging at 22 kilowatt. So here we are, all plugged in. Currently 13:43, and now we're gonna go off and do some shopping. As you can see, 22 kilowatt charging, remaining time about 1 hour and 5 minutes. So in an hour's time, this battery should be at about 90 to 93%. So I'm going to see how much I can actually gain in the space of a rather short shop, because it's not even a big one. So here we are, 13:56. My shop is complete, and we are at 73 kilometers. Now, this was in the space of, what was it, 10 minutes? Probably a little more, 10-15 minutes. And it went up to 50%. So I now have 73 kilometers where I had 47. So you are talking, what are we going to say? You are talking nearly 40 kilometers added in the space of, 10-15 minutes. This is what 22 kilowatt charging looks like when it actually works. After yesterday's run-ins with the chargers, it's good to actually do this and to just restore my faith in the charging infrastructure. If ESB can get all of these points working properly, we have a great infrastructure here in this country. Right, time to continue my lunch. Goodbye. Good morning. We are going to charge up at the train station here in Mallow. Now, one of the reasons why I'm here at the train station in Mallow, this particular charge point does work, but what I don't have is an actual icon for the charge point on my R-Link. So my R-Link isn't aware of this particular charge point. Now, allegedly, when you charge, it is supposed to actually remember the place of your charge stations, but what I found is that it actually doesn't. Now, I'm wondering if this is related to the fact that the charge has to be 100%. So my plan for this morning is to let the car charge to 100% and see if there's an icon on the dash when I drive away. It does work because my home address now actually has an icon for a charge point since I got my home charge point installed and I've charged up to 100%. It's test time. I have some business to do in town. Now, town is about, I'd say about a kilometre or so further away, probably more, than if I were to use the Tesco point, but the Tesco point is on the map. So I this experiment would be pretty useless that way. A morning for experimenting. So let's plug in and see what happens. So here we are, we're charging. It's at 55% at the moment. It's saying 55 minutes remaining. That's probably due to the last 1% taking forever. So I'm going to go into town for about an hour, I'd say. Have a coffee, have a wander around, do a few things, and we'll see what this is like when I come back. Now, I have my remote services up and running, so I should be able to actually see what's going on. See you guys in an hour. Pretty nice location though. It's right outside the actual station building. The bays are nice and painted. Very seldom actually blocked. Good work, ESB. Good work. Now, judging by the lack of noise... Oh no, hang on, it's still there. We are at 95%. Another 5 minutes remaining or so, so I'd say I'm going to have a little bit of read I'm going to read my magazine, and I'll see what happens when we reach 100%. I suppose in fairness it hasn't been 55 minutes. Right, let's go and see what happens when we get to 100%. So it is now 11:22. So the 55 minutes that was initially displayed has probably turned into an hour and, let's see, it was 8 minutes past, so about an hour and 15. Not really very, good. So either the charge point is now severely throttling things back, or the car was incredibly optimistic with its timing. 1% remaining, so I'm just gonna hang on and see what happens when we actually reach 100%. At the moment, there's still no icon on Arlink. It hasn't shown an identification or a notification to say that the charge point has been added or anything like that. So nothing happening so far. 11:31. Still 99%. I actually have to go, so I'm gonna terminate the charge, and we'll see what happens with Arlink as such. But it's been at 99% now for about 20 minutes. I know that it does all its cell balancing and all that kind of technical stuff, and I don't think anybody actually has a hard and fast rule with regards to how long this takes. I know most Zoe users I've seen online charge to 99% and no further because of, well, this. It could take an awful long time to actually get to 100%. So I'm going to terminate the charge and we see where we are at after I do that. Okay, it did say 100%. I think the 99% may just be a display thing, and it won't actually say 100% until you actually have all the cells balanced, but it did say 100% right there, as you saw. 131 kilometers on the clock, which seems to be sort of my average at the moment. The charge pole said that it loaded up 11.45 kilowatt hours, which is consistent because I was about halfway there. Right, so now the question is, what happens with the charge points on Arlink? Now, I am not seeing anything here resembling a charge point. So it didn't add it automatically. I must look into that. Right, anyway, car's charged, time to get on with the day. Right, I'm just about to leave work and I set a charge timer, and as you can see, it just started a few minutes ago. It is now 18:58, so I think I'm just about to miss the actual air conditioning running, so I am just going to have a quick rundown and see if it actually is still running. Looks like I just missed it, but I heard it running as I was up the stairs, and you can tell that it was running due to the fact that the dashboard lights are on. Awesome, it actually worked. That'll be great now for when it gets cold. At the moment it's about, 8 degrees, so it's not too cold yet, but it'll be nice once it actually gets chillier. Right, time to go home. Bye. Right, following night. I don't know if you can actually hear this, but it is preheating. I thought the actual interior would be on. Doesn't appear to be. You can definitely hear it. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, enough timers. Now, good morning. Today is Sunday the 26th and the clocks have changed. Now, I drove to work this morning without actually knowing. And I wondered, did the clock actually change on the car? And it did. That is the accurate time. This is the first car I've had that actually automatically changed the clock. There's progress for you. 87 kilometers remaining range, 35 kilometers done. I'm just driving up and down to work now. That's actually only a few kilometers, but it's over a rather large hill, so I'd say my totals driving around town are not going to be actually staggering. But yeah, my clock actually changed. Amazing. Good morning from Fermoy. Today I plan on driving well, from my house, which I left about half an hour ago. I plan on driving to Dublin. I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to go. Yes, I'm driving to Dublin without a plan, reason or destination. Basically the only reason I'm driving to Dublin is to see if I can actually get there, really. There's about 8 chargers along the way. They're all rapid chargers. I didn't charge up last night on purpose because I want to do this entire trip using the rapid chargers along the way only. I don't quite know whether they'll work or not, and that's what I'm going to try and find out. So far, well, Fermoy I knew worked, which is one of the reasons why I went here first. The next stop down is Cahir, followed by Cashel, Urlingford. Let's see, the next stop, Portlaoise, Junction 17 on the M7, and I might go as far as Naas. Naas and Newlands Cross is sort of the last, rapid chargers before you reach the M50. So yeah, we'll see how far we get. The first stop obviously was Fermoy. With the lovely rapid charger, which is charging up quite rapidly. I can hear the fans going outside. Just hear it roar. It is quite funny to actually hear that. People say this car is quite noisy. I have to agree with them. It is a little noisy. Thankfully, the 43 kilowatt chargers, you're not actually doing that next to your house. So I'm going to grab something to drink. It is a lovely morning compared to the weather we've had in the last few days. So yeah, time to grab something to drink and continue on our journey. See you later. Right, done with charging here. I'm at about 87%. I'm getting a great range though. Look at that, 130 kilometers at 87%. That's not going to last for much longer. But anyway, we're going to make our way up to Cahir. Curiously enough, I noticed the charger put in 13 kilowatt in a space of about 30 minutes. That's not exactly 43 kilowatts output, is it? I wonder if it's running at 22, which would be disappointing. I'm going to keep an eye on that. It should have charged the car to full in about 35 minutes. Yeah, I'm wondering, is that thing running a little slow? I'm delighted it works, don't get me wrong. I'm not entirely sure whether it's the rapid charger is supposed to. Interesting, we'll keep that in mind. Right, on to Cahir. Well, hello from Cahir. This is where the current ESB map kind of leads you down a little. Now, it says there's a there's DC and AC here. It doesn't mention speeds, but when I look at these two units, the one on the left is a fast charger for well, Chatham cars like the Nissan Leaf. And on the right hand side you've got the AC, and that looks like a 22 kilowatt unit. Now I'm going to try it out anyway, and then we're going to move on to Cashel. Cashel is only about 25 kilometers away, and I still have 75k left, so that should be pretty easy to do. And to my knowledge, Cashel actually has a rapid charger, so let's try this out for the sake of actually seeing will it charge, so that we know it in the future. But this ain't a rapid charger. Right, it does indeed work. 40 minutes remaining it says, so I don't think it is a rapid charger, although the unit is slightly different, so I'm not entirely sure. Keep in mind that, yeah, Fermoy actually said 50 minutes when it first started at around 30%. Now this one is saying 40, so I'm actually wondering whether, yeah, no, this is just a 22 kilowatt unit, and I'm still convinced that the Fermoy one wasn't going at 43. Okay, coffee time, and we'll hit the road for Cashel. Okay, time to go to Cashel. Yes, this was a 22 kilowatt unit. I should have known because I had to use my own cable, so that means it's automatically 22 kilowatt max. I added it actually to the sat-nav because it actually did not have it. Adding a point to the sat-nav is rather easy. You just go to menu, navigation, you go under settings, you go EV settings. Now you have manage charging stations, so you just go manage charging stations, and underneath it you'll find add. Now I've already added the actual charge station. You can select the type of charge station, or you know, things like that, but at least this way I have it on my sat-nav. I'm probably going to have to do that for a lot of them, because when I was looking at things, making an itinerary all the ways up to Kildare Village, the actual, out of the 5 stops that the ESB charge map has, I think only Cashel was the only one that was actually on the map. So I'm going to add every one of them as I come across them. So, right, onwards! Alright, here we are, Cashel, and as you can see, idiots. Anyway, we are charging. This is a DBT unit. I do like the DBT units because they're actually, they actually work very, very well. So time for a cup of coffee at McDonald's. I didn't actually take anything up in the car in case people reckon I'm a caffeine addict. I'm not. You can hear the fans kicking in. Excellent. Bye bye. Right, I've just stopped the charge in Cashel. I have enough to get to the next stop. I was told something very interesting by the manager here. Everybody in the Irish EV community knows that Cashel is very, very badly iced all the time. It's always blocked. Now, what he told me was that ESB are supposed to come down, but due to the weather they can't, which is fair enough. Paint needs to dry. But he generally tends to keep a staff car parked in one of the spots. So that if somebody needs to charge, he can move a car and have a spot available nearly immediately. So, lesson for all the Irish users out there: if you arrive at Cashel and it's blocked, ask at the Topaz counter and they might be able to move a car for you. Hopefully ESB will get them painted soon. Not entirely convinced it will actually stop people from parking there, because you always have idiots to say, oh, this green car park looks really nice. But hopefully at this point in time it might actually help. Because it's a lovely spot, it's always busy, it's a good charger, it charged my car rather quickly. Have a McDonald's 24/7, so it's a perfect little spot. Okay, next stop is Urlingford. Urlingford should have a triple standard. Hoping to get that at 43 kilowatts, but I have a feeling that's also going to be 22 kilowatts. But time will tell. As long as it works, I don't really care. Onwards! If you look at this now, I have the cruise control set to 110. If you notice, I had to take the car out of eco mode in order for that to actually happen. If you notice that the screen at the top right is actually turned purple, that actually indicates that I'm not driving very economical at this point in time. You can also tell by the actual direct consumption down in the bottom right is currently at plus 20 kilowatts, which would mean that I'd probably get about 100, maybe 110 out of the battery pack, which isn't, you know, very economical. I do like that though, because it does give you indications whilst you're driving how good you are doing. Awesome. So now that I have the cruise control set to 90, as you can see here, it turned from purple to blue, and I expect it to actually go into green soon. Again, this is a very, very handy little tool to actually make sure that you drive as economical as possible. Maybe not as fast as possible, but definitely economical. Right, Urlingford. Another triple standard. Seems to be going okay. I had a feeling it sort of started it a little faster and then clicked down. There was a loud click in the unit. The noise from the charger in my car stopped a little, and then there was another click in the actual unit, and it started charging again. Now it is saying 30 minutes. Now that could be 30 minutes to full. I'm not entirely sure whether it actually is charging at 43 kilowatts, but at least it's working, and it does seem to be. Well, it does seem to be charging relatively fast. So that's encouraging. Right, onwards. Now, let's have a peek and see if I can actually see. No, it was too late. I should have actually checked that. At least it worked. Now, Portlaoise. Another successful start anyway. Still not entirely convinced whether I'm getting 43 kilowatts out of these units, the Siemens ones. But at least it's working. The DBT in Cashel definitely seems to be faster. Time will tell, I suppose. I'll have to give it a good while. Thankfully, it's now about lunchtime, so let's go inside and have lunch, and we'll see what it's like after a little while. I'm still glad it's actually working with all the trouble I've had recently. So I'm glad these units are actually working now. And in all fairness, this does actually seem to be going up fast. So seems to be fairly okay then. Right, awesome. Lunchtime. Okay, I stopped the charge at around 90%. Now, I was here for about a half an hour. I had lunch, and the display said that it only loaded up about 4 kilowatts in that half an hour. So that's no way is that actually 43 kilowatts. My car should have been full by now. Which is kind of concerning. It's kind of funny. I must contact ESB about that. Now, the chargers do work, which is great. Maybe it's throttling because of the temperature of the battery. Maybe the car is throttling things back and forth. Maybe it's doing something like that. But so far, the only charger that I've seen out of the 4 I've tried today actually it's the 5th actually. The 5 I've tried today, only one of them am I convinced that it actually did 43 kilowatts. And that's the DBT unit in Cashel. Anyway, ever onwards. Junction 14 is next, which is only 20 kilometers away, so I shall boot it down. I think that only has a 22 kilowatt point, but we shall check. I think after that we have Naas, which is another one of these Siemens triple standard units, and after that it's Newlands Cross. Alright, ever onwards. Junction 17, or Junction 14, sorry, Jesus. Junction 14, and we are charging. So that's good, at least there has been no failures along this trip so far, which is great. At least I know I can actually make this journey. Next one up is, let's see now, next one down the line will be Naas. It'll be a lovely triple standard unit again, as I said. Toilet break and let's get on our way. Right, Naas. Again, I have a feeling I'm not getting the full speed. I plug it in. It charges for about 2 seconds, then you hear it stop, as in the noise from the car stops. There's a click in the unit, then about 5 seconds of nothing, then you hear the car starting to charge again. I have a feeling it starts initially at 43 kilowatt, then the car stops it, cuts it down to 22 kilowatt and starts again. I'm not entirely sure about this, but just the way I'm seeing things here, it seems to throttle down quite quickly. Now again, this may just be due to the fact that I'm starting to charge at fairly high levels, like I was at 58% this time. Maybe it's better when I'm actually at a lower percentage. Now on the way back, because this is my last stop, I'm not going to go to Newlands Cross because the traffic is getting too big, too busy, and it's 1:30. I want to do something else with my day. Even though as much fun as this is, I do wonder what's happening with the chargers. I'm delighted that they actually work, because that means that I'm more than likely going to be okay with the rest of the units. I do wonder, are they throttling down? So, time for a break, I suppose. I've got 25 minutes according to the timer. It does seem to be ramping up quite high, so maybe it's the opposite way around. Maybe it starts low and it's ramping up. Don't know. Anyway, time to go. Bye. Right, coffee over. I just realised something. I've driven all the way from Mallow to Naas, and I have not seen a single Nissan Leaf. Not a single one. Where is everybody? I mean, I charged in Fermoy, Cahir, let's see now, Cashel, Urlingford, Portlaoise, Junction 14, and here in Naas. Not seen a single other electric car. That's pretty bad. Anyway, I'm going to disconnect and I'm going to make my way down to Portlaoise for another charge, and then on to Cashel where I'll charge up the full, and then on the way home. I think that's probably going to be my normal trip if I'm going to do this thing. I'm wondering, with regards to motorway speeds, I think 100-110 is probably sufficient to get at least 75 kilometers out of the car in this kind of weather, which will be good to know. And we'll see. I'd like to see this charger charge the car from a lot lower battery percentage rather than this high up. Yeah, let's see. I might even try to reach Urlingford and charge up to full there. We'll see what the battery is like by the time I get to Portlaoise. Right, so ever onwards. Right, back in Portlaoise, I booted it down the motorway. My eco score is like, I don't know, in the 70s. Pretty bad anyway. Let's see how fast this actually gets up to about 90%. I'd say I'll leave it around 90%. It should be more than sufficient to actually get to Cashel. Cashel is approximately 75 kilometers away. If I can't reach that at 70%, then something's gone wrong. Alright, break time. Okay, this is interesting. I got an email whilst I was sitting inside to say that my charge was finished. It's only been about 15 minutes, so I was wondering what the hell happened. Now, I have a feeling this charger actually cut out, because my car has gone into sort of standby. So in other words, it actually isn't charging. So let me just unplug it and see if I can actually restart a charge. It's about 75%, which should actually be sufficient in that sense. Sorry, I just pointed you guys down. Okay, so scan it in again. Let's see if it will actually restart. There's the click from the charger. There we go. So then we have, it's going to stop any second now. There you go. Then it has the click in the charger again. There's nothing for a little while. This thing is still actually flashing, so I think it's renegotiating the speed. I hear a beep from the other side. Now let's see if it's actually still charging. No, see, it's gone dark. And it stopped again. Interesting. Very interesting. Right, I think I have enough to get to Cashel, so let's get to Cashel. Right, now I have about 93k. It's about 75 to Cashel, so that's going to be fun. I'm probably going to keep her in eco and see how far I get. So let's see now, it's 3:05, 75k. I should be there in about a half an hour, 40 minutes. Oh, well, 40 minutes probably, because due to my speed. Let's see what's left, and let's see if the actual bay isn't iced, and let's see if I can actually charge. Fun times. Horrible weather. Horrible weather. Horrible weather. Horrible. Okay, we're about 20 minutes away from Cashel. Now, as you can see that nice little orange banner, the sat-nav seems to think that I won't be able to actually make my destination, because according to the rangeometer, I've got about 3 kilometers more than I actually, need to get to the destination. I should be okay, but the weather and the fact that I'm actually heading towards hillier ground is actually going to make it a little tight. I sincerely hope that the manager in Cashel actually meant it with regards to moving cars for that charge point, because I think I might need it. Well, look at this. The sat-nav now seems to think that I'll actually make it. I have about 5 kilometers of a difference between what the sat-nav says the distance is and my actual battery capacity according to this. I probably have a little bit more, but 5 kilometers will do me. The weather is absolutely atrocious. It is genuinely bad. There's a fierce headwind. I've got my speed limiter set to about 90 just to conserve battery really more than anything else. There was a few climbs. I think at the moment the rest of it is going to be a little bit more downhill more than anything else. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. I sincerely hope that the actual casual one is free, but it should be okay. I'll report back when we're actually there. I must say I really enjoyed the sat-nav when it goes like this. It's a genuinely brilliant sat-nav. By the way, we have a warning light, but that's okay, we'll get there.
After 200 meters.
Okay, we made it. I got 8 kilometers left. I was actually fortunate. The actual car of the person was working here actually just pulled out. They must have finished work at 4 o'clock. So let's plug in and see what my percentage is. I'm gonna guess about 12. It looks like I was wrong. 8%. That's probably the lowest I've gotten it. Which is great. It just goes to show what is actually possible, because the weather is just staggering, really. It's the worst I've driven an electric car in. But we got here, so I'm going to charge up to at least 90 to 95. It's about 75 kilometers to home, so if I can make that on 75%, then I can definitely make it on 90, because it is going to get a little bit more hilly towards going home. Yeah, break time. 96%, ready to go home. I gave this a little bit longer than I did with the others. Not entirely sure why, just because I probably felt I needed to charge. It wasn't a very interesting episode, but I hope people enjoyed it anyway. Basically, it just was, this episode really was more about my own confidence in the charging network after last week's near disaster as such, thanks to charging points not working. I've tried, must have been nearly 10 different charging points since, and they've all worked. So I think what happened to me last week in West Cork was more of a, I don't know, misfortune than the norm. I have to say the road to Dublin is relatively easy with all the charge points that are around. I mean, there's 8 between, say, Fermoy and the M50. So going up to Dublin should be no problem. I sincerely hope the next time I go up it'll be blazing sunshine and lovely weather, because this weather is just absolutely horrific. Okay, anyway, this is episode 4 over and done with, and we'll see you next time. I'll try and come up with something that is a little more interesting than this one. So thanks for watching anyway, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Just a little addition to my trip to Naas. Here is the readings of the actual charges that I made along the way, and the one at the bottom, starting at 8:10, is from Moy, so that's registered as a fast charge. It felt that way. The one above that is Cahir, which is a 22 kilowatt point, and I was only there for a few minutes. Then above that you have Cashel. Above that you have what's its name, Urlingford. Then above that you have Portlaoise, the very first Portlaoise, somehow. Then above that you have Junctions 14, where I stayed for a while. And then above that you have Naas. Now Naas, as you can see, is set as standard. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there. So the fast charger, it's supposed to be a fast charger, obviously it either didn't charge that way, or the car kicked it down a notch, but I'm not entirely sure. Now, above that, the top one is back in Portlaoise. Now that has accelerated there. So that came back at what was it? That would probably be considered a 22 kilowatt point. So at that stage, at 3 o'clock on the nose, my the actual charger cut out. Now if I could just scroll up a little, let's see now, not that way. Yeah, I left Portlaoise. I tried it again a second time, as you can tell, and it didn't actually do anything, and it went from accelerated to standard. Then the top one, I arrived in Cashel, and it charged to 96% as a fast charger. So I was right. Some of the chargers, even though they're supposed to be fast chargers, are only charging at either accelerated rate or sometimes even lower. So I must have a look into and see what is happening there. Interestingly, not all of them are like that. So it must have something to do with the way the charge point is installed, or the way I plug in the cable, or maybe even the cable itself. Yeah, it's a little strange, but that was one of the reasons why I actually wanted to go. So on the way in my point of view, Cashel definitely is a very reliable unit. I like those DBT units. I like those DBT units a lot. Fermoy is also a fast charger. Urlingford did a good job. Didn't go there a second time, so I wonder would it actually make a difference? And interestingly, as far as I can tell here, Portlaoise was pretty okay the first time, and then the second time I was there, it just didn't want to charge fast. Don't know. Must find out what the reason behind that is. Anyway, as I said earlier, this is the end of episode 4. Thank you very much for watching.